Hi, I'm Sly. Welcome to my world. I'm going to be putting together a willow bed, starting that project here, and we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping it goes smooth. I'm going to do mortise and tenon joints on everything instead of coping everything together. Coping works, but it's just time consuming. It looks nice, but I'm going to try the mortise and tenon joints on this one. Got to see how it goes together. It works good on the chairs, so we'll see how the bed turns out. Gotta love Wisconsin. So once I got my posts cut the length here and got them plumbed in, sitting nice and straight, orientated with each other, I stood them up next to each other and made sure I had them aligned the way I wanted them. I decided to do the finish sanding on them just to break up the sanding, because there's so much sanding on every piece that if you do it in different segments or whatever, it's easier on your wrist and stuff at the end. And so I took my orbital here and with 120 sandpaper and did everything I could with that, trying to get in all the cracks and crevices. I filmed it in time lapse here, so it wouldn't take so long, but they took me at least a half hour a piece. This is the part of the project that it makes or breaks it. The sanding here, trying to get in and hand sand everything that the orbital wouldn't reach. Getting all the diamonds sanded up nice and everything. And I know this is the part of the project everybody hates when they're doing it, but it's worth it. And the effort you put into it here is for the final product. It's definitely well worth it. So yeah, I get done sanding. I inspected all the pieces the best I could, and I always find more scratches, so it's worth the effort to look it over and do it right away, because you don't want to spray your pieces with the finish and then have scratch marks in it and stuff. So you might as well take a few minutes and look it over and touch it up here and there wherever you need to, even though you're going to have to sand some more after the final assembly is made, because you're going to scratch or dent something when you're doing that. But at least most of the sanding's done now. And here's the two headboard posts that I had sanded up. They're gnarly looking posts, and I'll take my tenon cutter here and on the rim section of the bed. The handy dandy jig that I have to make up to clamp my pieces down. The tenon cutter's got so much torque on it. Tapering the ends down here where the tenon cutter cut, just so it flowed a little smoother. I just like that look a lot better. Alright, I had to make up this jig to keep my rails at the right width for the mattress to fit in this bed. So I made up this 2x10 with this is my fake rail right here, this on the end that I made, and I put little legs on here to keep it at the height I want, so it was easier to slip in this post. I took my post and I mortised out a slot for the rail to fit in, and that just goes just like, oops, sorry about that. Hard to do this one-handed. So yeah, I just slip that in there. That keeps my spacing. So when I put the rails in, everything should be good to go for width. So after I got my posts and rails dry fitted together here, I laid out my balusters at orientation and drilled all my tenon joints. As you can see, I had to put a little pressure on this. My bit definitely was getting dull. But it worked out pretty good. Doing it this way, kind of like a staircase. And then I'm just doing one baluster at a time, make sure it's fit, because everyone's a different length. I think I had 10 balusters in this rail, so you can see how gnarly these pieces are. Get them all dry fitted together, get them all sanded, and I think I had one miscue on all of these. For some reason I got one tenon, I got one rail cut, or one post baluster cut too short. I had to redo it. So here we go. This is the final assembly. Everything's getting glued and screwed. So I already had dry fit everything, made sure it was all gonna work. Took it all back apart. Had marked all my balusters so they were in the right orientation, so I knew exactly how to put them back in. And this part's a little tricky, especially by yourself. So everything wants to fall apart on you. I could have used a little help here, but I'm pretty sure I could have got it by myself, and I do have some problems here. Stuff starts happening. There it goes. Oh, that stuff will happen. You'll lose your mind a couple. This happens a few times on me here, but I get a little frustrated, kick the compressor over. But once I figured out how to brace it up decent, I got it assembled, and with a little help from the rubber mallet and stuff, getting everything back together. Everything went together pretty smooth, you know. A little extra sanding here where I scratched a little bit or dented it, but for the most part, it went together pretty good for being as big a piece as it is. And so I just pre-drill some holes and put some trim head screws in here in all the balusters and the rails going into the post, just to give it a little extra support till the glue dries. Yeah, I didn't have much of a problem with glue smearing all over everything. Usually that can happen. But I'm using my handy dandy gauge here to keep my width right, make sure the rails weren't out too far or in too far. Okay, so the footboard turned out really nice. I'm pretty happy with it. It's heavy. I mean, it's 7 feet long. You know, it's 30 inches or 36 probably at the top here. But I got it all finished sanded. I did most of the finished sanding. I mean, 99% of it before I put it together. And then just a little final touch-ups. Ready for finish. Next step is to get the headboard done, which I got the posts right here, and they are, I don't know, 1.5 feet taller. They're gnarly, pretty gnarly posts. So I'll get on that, and I thought this was going to be a little easier than coping the joints like I did on the rest of the beds that I made, but this is not as easy, or about the same difficulty I would say than coping. A lot more sanding and stuff and fitting your joints and stuff when you're coping, but because this material is so, you know, it's got so many kinks and bends to it and stuff, and it's not like putting a staircase railing together where everything's dimensional and it's all straight. And plus, when you're doing mortise and tenon joints, you got to take everything apart to, you know, to make sure everything fits together good, and taking it apart, putting it back together, and then dry fitting everything 2 or 3 times, and just making sure everything is good. But it turned out good. It's rigid, so I'm happy with it. Oh, a little filet mignon, bacon wrapped. Celebrate a hard day in the shop, I guess. A lot of them are good. Well, we got that done. That half of it done. Turned out good. I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully I can get a little faster with the rest of it. Just a little bit of a learning experience, putting that big of a piece together. I mean, I'm used to doing staircases, but that's pretty much what it is like a railing, but it's not dimensional, so it's a little bit tougher. Between all the sanding and stuff, I had all the parts picked out ahead of time, sorted, rough sanded, diamonds cleaned out and stuff. And this still took me almost 2 days to do just the footboard, and I was working on it pretty hard. But so, but I got the headboard posts. Them are ready to go. So my balusters for the headboard are going to be a little bit longer. So I don't think I got enough material sorted out for that. So I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to steal that from. Because I got stuff for a bed, table and chairs and some nightstands and stuff. And we'll just keep grinding away at it. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of this project. I appreciate it.